Grace and Jenny, thank you for coming and spending your time with me today. I'd just like to start with what's the mission of HummingFish and what does HummingFish mean?
The vision statement of HummingFish Foundation is adding value to nature. So, translate into an easier understanding statement is we connect the people, the business, and the nature together. And our key project is now in Timor Leste. What we are doing is to help, the poverty, the poor people in the developing countries to develop the green industry or the green enterprise. Say, for example, the organic agricultural products, ecotourism, so that the people can rely on the nature to improve their living condition. And at the end of the day, they will protect the environment. And basically, we are a registered charity organization in both Hong Kong and Timor Leste. And our core vision is to protect the environment.
Okay. How did HummingFish begin? So I know you've got a little story about a photographer who's not with us today.
Yes, we have a very great founder, JonathanJK. He was a photojournalist and he reported a lot of wars and internal conflicts of different countries, and Timor Leste is one of his key focus. So the story started from another country, Afghanistan. One day he went to submit the film to the publication of Thai magazine, and then he found out that the core teams of the reporters together with him in the country, they all died out because of the the bombs, something like that. So he was really confused at that point of time about the life, the meaning of life. So, and also his elder son was about to born. So anyway, he decided to move to Timor Leste and lived there for 2 years. And then he discovered that the country was very underdeveloped, but on the other hand, the nature was preserved in a very good condition. So
why was that? Was it because of the government? Or just because they just didn't get around to destroying it yet?
It's because of the, it's because of the, it's just a developing country.
Okay. Yes, as a city or as a country, it is destroyed after the war.
Yes.
But as the natural environment is well protected because it is unspoiled, because there's no industry, too poor to import any chemicals, fertilizer. That's why it is naturally organic and well preserved.
It's kind of like an isolated world. So the people, they're very pure, they're very friendly. And then he talked a lot with all the local people. And then he has a very good insight is the people, we won't cut trees because of we hate the trees, right? You won't say, oh, I don't like this tree, I cut it off. You won't do something like that. But if you are in a very poor living condition and somebody goes to you and say, John, cut off the tree and I can give you the money and you can feed you and the whole family for the coming 5 years. What will you do? Grace and I am in Timor Leste for a few times. If I put my head into their way, I will say, yes, cut off all the trees. And if you can give me some chemical fertilizers that I can improve my living condition, I will do it at once, I swear. Yeah, because I want to feed my family. But then he finds out that if I go to and say to the people, okay, preserve the tree can help you and enable you to improve your living condition, what will you do? You will want to do something like that. And then it is more like a virtuous cycle. If you protect the environment, your living condition will be improved, and then you will also protect the environment in return. So he started the whole project, the HummingFish Foundation, along this thinking.
Okay, thank you. And what are your roles in the company? In the NGO?
Oh yeah, I am the operation director, so managing the data operation of the office in both Hong Kong and Timor Leste.
Okay.
My role in name is marketing director, but the truth is we almost do everything with our lovely volunteers in both Timor and Hong Kong.
Okay, and you are, just for the record as well, you are both volunteering?
Yes, indeed. All the people involved in the charity in Hong Kong are volunteers.
I remember you saying as well that you don't get a wage or you don't earn anything from doing this.
No.
Simply off your own backs to promote sustainability with the people in East Timor Leste. Is it Timor Leste or East Timor Leste? Is it West as well?
East Timor is yes, and Timor Leste is the official language of the country. Leste itself means east. where the sun rises.
Just like if you say Cheng Chao, if you say Aplay Chao Island, it's superfluous. You don't need to say island.
Because Chao is already means island. Say.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, my next question is, perfect. For those that don't know, can we talk a little bit about Timor Leste as well?
Oh,
so
Timor
where
Leste,
is it? What people like, what are some cultural interesting things about what they make?
Timor Leste is in maritime Southeast Asia, so it's one of the newest country in the world. It just got its independence in 2002, and at the moment it's like have.
So independence from what?
From Indonesia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
it used to be part of Indonesia.
Right. So that's where it is located, east of Indonesia, on the Timor Island. And then it is above Australia, separating Australia and Timor-Leste is the Timor Sea.
Okay.
So at the moment, you have like 1.2 million people only.
Right, that's the whole population?
Yes, whole population. Because during the war, half of the country have been killed. So after that, the country start to regrow, and at the moment, it's just about 1.2 million of people.
Okay.
And it is very underdeveloped. The whole country's got the electricity in 2013. Can you imagine? So the living condition is very poor.
And
so how much do you know? Like how much they earn a day? What's the average?
Maybe $1. Because the statistic I got is like until now, 30% of the population is still lie under the global hunger index.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you brought some things here to show us some of the things that they make.
Yes.
Oh, so we call this ties.
A what?
Ties. T-A-I-S. Ties.
T-A-I-S. Okay.
So it's like a handcraft, a waving technique for the local people. And so this one is a very thin one, short one, and we use this as a gift for all our guests. When you visit a village, visit a home, people will present it to you as a welcome.
Okay. How many of these do you have?
A lot, but this one is for you.
Thanks.
And indeed, when you go to different village, you can find different ties. Every village have a different pattern. So if you are local people, when you look at their ties, you know where they come from. So apart from being like a gift for guests, they also use it for their clothes.
Yes,
so when you
like
look at the picture of traditional clothing, you can see people wearing it very large pieces as their clothes.
And the patterns, like you said, the patterns change depending on where they are in the country.
Yes, for this, because it's a guest, so we can wave words. Like this one is HummingFish Foundation.
Okay.
But then in village, when they put it on as a symbol of their village, then there will be different pattern, which only they can understand.
And also they will use it for different kinds of accessories. Say for example, if you take a look of a brace earring. So there is another French lady who started a project that she got some French designers, to do the product design, and then let the women to use their own, the handcraft skill to make the earring and something, the pin like that. Yeah.
But how important is this? Just be careful with your mic.
Yep.
Hiding it. But when you're talking about the bands, are they like an important signifier of where people come from? So they automatically can identify, oh, you're from the north of the island, you're from the south.
Right.
And that's important because they just want to know, they're curious about where their people are from, or is there actually some sort of like tribal...
Yes, it's representing their own tribe or their own village.
Okay,
yeah,
so they should know all the bands and know that some tribe has entered their land and they're representing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking of like it's a primitive form of something that you can find on like some sort of GPS app. This GPS social app that we have today in the modern world.
Right. When you see that pattern, that will come from that part of the country.
Yeah.
There's
a blurb on the website that says Timor Leste is growing upwards, and I was interested in that. And you asked me a question in our when we were trying to organize this. Going upwards, is it because of the economy, or is it because of something else when it's going upwards?
First of all, I was like into economic developments. They're really going upward, but in a very slow pace because of it's still a very young countries and the people they're not very aggressive, something like that. And also, it is a highly democratic countries. Yes, the president and the government is elected by all the people in the countries. Yeah.
Okay, but isn't my memory is hazy because we organised this and then we took a break. But is it something about earthquakes or mountains as well? So it's like a double meaning. It's like it's literally going upwards. The elevation of the island is going up.
Oh, you mean geographically?
Yeah.
Right, because it is on the active pattern of the the land crest.
Plate.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So that's why it keep moving a little bit.
Okay.
So in the past, the founder always make a joke like Timor is at the highest point of the world because there's 1,000 feet underwater and there's a mountain 1,000 up above the ground. So altogether, it is the highest country located in the world.
It is.
So that's what he's always making a joke like
okay.
that. But then yes, because of the active crest, the earth crest, so yes, the country is a bit like moving upward slowly, you can say in that sense. But then economically, as what Jenny said, yes, it's moving slowly upward. So the main revenue for the country is oil, the gas reserve. That's how it will rely on at the moment. But then because it's always a limit for how much you can draw from that.
Sure.
So that's the government now is trying to like diversify the revenue. So like promoting tourism and also try to increase different kind of exports and also local economy. But again, because it is a new country, it's going slowly and slowly.
You brought some other things as well
Yeah.
to show and to share.
Yes.
This camera can't see it
Okay.
too much, so it'd be great to pass them around and I can put a close-up as well. On so this is actually what you make
Yes.
as an NGO with the
Yes.
farmers.
So basically, maybe we start with our first project.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is the soap. It's the organically handmade soap, and all the ingredients and natural ingredients. Yeah, the name is called Ifunan, and it's a Teton, which means flower. And the interesting point is all the soap are made by ladies, by women.
Why only ladies?
Yes.
Men not allowed, or men don't want to make soap?
So happen this project, the soap makers are all ladies. But I just want to tell you the women's story in Timor Leste. Yeah. After I worked on this project, now I can understand how lucky we are as a Hong Kong woman or as an Asian woman. Because in Timor Leste, the status of the woman is very, very low, which means when they age around 15 or 16, they will get married. And they will have babies, and then babies and babies and babies, and they have to take care of the families. And even more significant is they can't own anything. Say for
the
example,
women can't own anything.
They can't own anything. You won't say, okay, I buy a car and it's owned by me. No, you can't do something like that. And you can't own your own house, your own land. No ownership. So the women basically belong to the man. Okay, and
is there going to be any changes to that? You said it's democratic, so are they able to fight for equality?
I would say it is more like a traditional.
I guess the situation is changing, in particular related to land issue, because there's still a lot of land dispute in the country.
Right.
Because who owned the land originally, and during the Indonesian occupation, other people move into the land originally belonged to someone else. So now they also claim the ownership of the land. So there's quite a lot of dispute related to the land at the moment, and some of this land are owned by women sometimes ago, something like that. So yeah, I would say the situation is improving. Just like when you look at the new government, you can also see women in high rank. So there's an improvement in the status of the women in the country. But again, it is at a very early stage.
Right.
So the women, they learned how to make soap through a Canosian organization.
That's why, that's why the soap is come from women.
Yes,
Okay.
and then they sold the soap in Timor, so which means it can't really be sold at a very high price. So then introduced the product to Hong Kong, and basically it is through another volunteer, a friend of HummingFish called Matthew. He bought some pieces of soap when he went to Timor for the diving tour, and then he introduced this soap to the fashion brand in Hong Kong that is Agnes B, you know, the boutique. Yeah. So the soap actually was first launched in Agnes B in Hong Kong, and together with Dan, he got a photo exhibition about Timor Leste in the retail shop. Then we invited the women to come over, the soap team, what we call the soap ladies, to come over to Hong Kong, and then we have a launch party, and then we have a video to show about the nature of Timor Leste. And then the soap becomes the first branded product to be exported from Timor Leste to international market. And it also became the first charity product sold in Cathay Pacific, the in-flight sales. We put the products on the sales channel for 3 quarters, so thanks very much for Cathay Pacific. I think it's in 2013. And then this little soap is now become a very well-known brand in Timor Leste, and the women, they started their own business a few years ago, and more happy is we spin off another project called Clean Kids. Clean Kids is for those kids who live in a very remote area in Timor Leste, and the sad thing is they don't even know there's something called soap in the world, so they can't wash their hands with soap, so it will relate to some hygienic problem. And then we got some funding from the donor, and then we developed the Clean Kids project, and the women, they use their hands to make their soap, and then to design the packaging, and then to put it together with some illustration. There is a Hong Kong illustrator called Kiki Wong, so she developed a comics. It's kind of like the 3 brothers, they are all soap, and then they have to fight against, you know, the germs, and then it is through, you know, the comics, the story, to tell the kids that they have to wash their hands and their body by soap. And we are so impressed by the progress made by the women, because they are not only making their soap to improve their living condition, but they also take care of the other, you know, the little kids in their countries and or in the area nearby. I still remember when the time when they were in the NSB, at that point of time there was still the store in the IFC. She held my hand and said, I never imagined my hands can help develop my country.
Okay, just her pair of hands.
Yes.
Okay. And then indeed, I would also say, you know, even before this soap import and start to sell in Hong Kong, it is already quite famous in Timor. I mean, iPhone soap. Why? Because it is once the country's official gifts for other countries, president, whatever. Because when we first started project, we got the support from the previous president of Timor Leste, Dr. Ramos Horta, and they used this as their official guest in the president's house. And when this soap first launched, the president even went to the airport with the soap team and present this soap to the visitor who arrived at the airport. So it's famous there, and then we also bring it to Hong Kong, being famous here.
Okay.
And then follow about, you know, the Clean Kid project. Apart from, you know, we help the children to learn about washing hands. It also have some other meaning and benefit behind what we try to convince the country and the people. Because at the moment, most of these daily necessities, like soap, like other food, is imported from other countries. When you go to Timor, you don't see a lot of soap bar like this. Usually they use a small packs with powder. So every day you throw away packs of empty bags. So a lot of plastics, and it is all imported products. And by using this, we hope that we promote local products, and we want to promote, because all the ingredients are organic, natural. So we want to promote using organic local product in their own country.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a TV program I watched, going off a tangent here, and it was this old lady's birthday, and everybody in her local community didn't know what to get her. And over the course of this episode, it's like do you know, like Coronation Street or EastEnders from the UK, like the daily soap runs. And it was her birthday, everybody didn't know what to get her, but over the course of the episode, people would give her presents, and she would open it, and she would get soap. And then someone else would come around, and she would get another present, she'd open that, she'd get more soap. So by the end of the episode, she had all this soap, and she's saying, do I smell or something? And it's just this inability of everybody to, like, you know, they obviously didn't know that they were all getting each other the same thing for her.
Yeah.
But they also, on a spur of the moment, just bought soap because it's a very easy thing to buy. So she took offense because she's now questioning, oh, do I smell? And I'm just wondering, when people do visit and they get given soap, do they ever have that sort of conscious doubt as to like, why am I getting soap?
Interesting.
Maybe some people might get,
but then maybe after a long trip, you go to, you
might
arrive and then
yes. So how easy is it then to get to Timor Leste by plane? Do you have to go to Australia first?
If you are going from Hong Kong to there, you can go for Singapore or go for Bali. So there's no direct flight from Hong Kong there.
Okay, and all these ingredients, it says at the end, from Australia? All the ingredients from Australia?
No, just the essential oil. And for the rest, is from Timor.
Okay.
We tried once to produce the essential oil in Timor with the help of a technician in Hong Kong, but because still, the technology, the skill set is not yet there, so we have to buy it from Australia.
And this is the main product that you make now with the farmers?
Yes, the Maubere Mountain coffee.
Okay. So this is the reason why we're scoping and making a YouTube. We've got this coffee, which is a mountain coffee carefully picked and processed to create a smooth and chocolatey flavor. Oh, I like this already. That is perfect for all types of coffee lovers, from espresso to French press. Our environmentally conscious farmers are concerned about protecting the natural resources and limiting the impact their industry has on their ecosystem. Hand-picked Arabica. Am I saying it properly? Arabica?
Yeah.
It's one of those words that I read all the time, but I've never heard anybody say. And all the profits go back to the farmers who support this. And so, how long has this been on the market for? And where do you sell it mostly?
In Hong Kong, it's about 5 years.
Yeah.
$500.
5 years.
Oh, 5 years, sorry.
We
Okay.
introduced it to Hong Kong, and for this is 200 gram, and we sell it 150.
Okay, that's
Hong Kong
about
dollar.
15 British pounds or just under 20 US dollars. Okay, and it comes in different sizes.
And this is 100 packs, so 1 pack for 1 cup of coffee. So because there's a filter inside, so if you go on business trip, go on travel, you don't have a French press or whatever equipment with you, you can just use it, and with water, then you can have a nice cup of Maubere Mountain coffee.
And how much for 5?
This is
70.
70 Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah.
One of my first questions that I thought about when I wanted to sit with you was because this is sustainable, but that makes me think that before you went in and helped them, that means their coffee growing practices weren't sustainable. And for however long they've been growing coffee, how have they thought not to become sustainable in the first place? Because if you're dependent on the nature, you don't want to destroy the nature. So how have you changed their practices? What were they doing kind of incorrectly before, and what are they doing correctly now?
I would say, at the first place, they don't have the idea of sustainability. They just have the idea of survival.
Yes.
So what they need at the moment, at that time, was how can I survive? How can I get enough food for my family? How can I get money? So that's what they know at that moment. No idea of sustainability. And at the moment now, I would say they are more concerned about whether it is a green product, whether it is organic, how to make good quality product. If I can make good quality product, if it is organically grown, then that means there will be a good market with a good price. Then my living condition, my family, the situation of my family will be improved. So maybe, they don't have a clear idea of sustainability in their mind, but because of this practice, what is in mind, so it will make their business sustainable.
Okay.
Put it this way, because the people, they live in a very remote area from Dili, the capital of Timor Leste. I can give you a more realistic picture. It's like if you want to go from Dili to this area called Maubere, then on a sunny day and with the road condition, it takes around 6 hours. Okay, in the past it would take you like 8 hours because the road is not paved. Most of the road is not paved. So basically, not many people go there and buy their coffee. And because of their limited knowledge, they even don't know how to pick the cherry. So you will say, well, it's so easy. Okay, the cherry, if it is red, it is baked, that you pick it. But from generation to generation, they just don't have this knowledge. They pick all the cherry, the green, the small one, the big one, and then they use, the big wood, to smash into the cherry. So the cherry and the coffee bean will be separated, and then the coffee bean will be also separated.
Right.
So it is in very poor condition. So thanks very much for Dan, and also the owner of this coffee shop, Edwin Lee. So Dan led a group of coffee experts from Hong Kong to the area and educated them, how to pick cherry, how to distinguish the good quality of cherry, and how to proceed, and how to maintain it in high quality, and what is the high value of organic coffee. So it is more like an education process. Yeah.
Did you get any resistance? Like two, we'll say foreigners, come, let's say just percentage is you two, they come, you go to their village and you're trying to say, you should do it this way. Obviously anybody who is being told what to do might take offense. So how do you collaborate so that people say, okay, I will agree with what you're saying and change my farming practice?
I know what you mean. Indeed, over the year, there are many international NGOs go to Timor Leste, try to support, and even now there's still many. And then different NGOs have different approach. And we saw, quite a lot of failure projects, and which come to the situation is like, yes, I'm the NGO, I have knowledge, I have money, I take this project to you and try to, help you. So you just follow what I'm telling you. But then at the end of the day, a lot of those failed because you don't buy it and you don't think, it is of my interest. I have no idea what you're doing. But then for our project, it is not from top down.
Yeah.
It always from from the bottom. We work together with the community. So when we start the project, when we develop the project, we sit down with the farmer and then we talk and then we compromise and then we come up with decision. So along the way, it is not our project. It is the project of the farmer.
Okay.
We work together. So it is this kind of the way we develop project. We work with the farmer that build our trust with the farmer. That's why we can survive and we can grow together. And that's one thing. And what's the another point I want to say?
And the other thing is the communication, patience. And I appreciate Dan very much that he spent a lot of time on the mountain. Basically, he loves coffee. However, he really didn't know how to proceed coffee at the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the fact that they learn together. It's
exactly.
not, okay, I'm the hero. I come here and I educate you. It's not something like that. It's they learn by mistake and learn by different lessons. And then at the end of the day, I would say thanks very much for all the supporters, like the people in Hong Kong and in Dili, in the capital, because when the farmers, they can see their coffee is sold at higher price, and when we go there, we tell them, the coffee is now sold in Hong Kong, and then we have some programs in the university to talk about our project. They really feel that, well, we are working together, but in different aspects. And I can say it's the progress and the result, because the coffee is now served in the 5-star hotel in Dili. So they can really see the value of organic products. And last time when we were in the village, we saw them to put some fertilizer into the soil. We were so nervous. And then we said, oh, it's a chemical fertilizer. And then it is basically the farmer, they told us, no, we don't use chemical fertilizers because it would damage the land and it would damage our living. If you ask us whether we want them to understand, wow, the whole world is very polluted and that you have to take care of the environment because it will affect your next generation. Come on, it's too far away from them, because in their area has not yet been polluted. Their main challenge is survival. And before this project, they can only have one meal every single day, 3 months before the harvest. It's because of the poverty. So now they can have 3 meals, and basically I would say it is not only because of our project. Our project is just the inspiration. Now they can use this skill set to grow different kinds of organic products, and then they can sell the other kinds of organic products also in a high price, so they can see the value.
Just to go back on the topic about women not owning anything, how did they react to foreign women coming in and explaining these ideas, and you obviously own the company that you're working for. Ever since the owner died, he was a he. So I'm just looking at it interestingly, like from a gender perspective, because of what you said, like women don't own anything. And yet here are two very powerful women. Obviously, I know there's more in your company, but there are women coming from another country explaining these ideas. And I'm still curious as to, like you say, you work from the bottom up, so they clearly can see the benefits of it, but at the same time.
No, I see your point.
Yeah, is there also like another change where the women are getting more out of this?
Well,
because it's not just what you know is being shared, it's who you are, the ideas of who you are is also being shared.
Because I guess because we are foreigners, so they look at us differently. So when
that means they can dismiss it as well?
No, I think they respect us more. Because they think, as foreigner, you are more, educated, you know more. And then because over the years, as I said, there's a lot of NGO in Timor Leste helping different projects, different area. And of course, there's a lot of women working in this NGO from outside, moving to Timor to help. So they already know that there's a lot of, foreign Western women, who work there and at a high level. So I have to say they kind of look at us differently. And then, indeed, our project, I would say, is a bit special as well. I mean, the people there. Because in the past, we also have a local Timor woman who used to be, as I was told, the only woman in Timor Leste who have been trained in other countries about coffee. And later on, she happened to be the sister of the village leader. So after she learned some coffee knowledge, she came back and worked for our project. So she is the project in charge at the mountain with the farmers. So they also, listen to her because she has the skill, the knowledge they don't have. So in that sense, they are kind of open-minded.
Okay.
And I would say in the HummingFish relationship with the farmers, it is not like we are two women to them, because we are part of HummingFish. And first of all, thanks Dan, as I mentioned before, he spent a lot of time on the mountain together with the farmers. And there is another guy called, his name is Oscar Low, and he did spend some time on the mountain. So maybe they feel easier to accept the Hong Kong people to go there and then to try to work together with them. So we are just like the third and fourth people, and Grace is even better because to start from the project, and she spent a lot of time to visit the farmers. So I think the relationship is built on trust and mutual respect, rather than, well, you are a woman and you are Hong Kong and you are foreigners. Of course, as a foreigners, we have a little bit privilege, but I think it's more like the way how we treat each other.
Okay. I want to ask you about what's something that you'd like people to know about coffee growing in itself. So we're changing the topic completely. And what do you think consumers don't know that they should know when it comes to getting that coffee in their cup?
I would say aside from coffee appreciation, because now I think the Hong Kong market is getting more and more mature. When we do the roadshow, we can easily tell whether he or she is a coffee lover, because when they taste our coffee, they will say, okay, I love your taste, or I don't like your taste. So I think the taste appreciation is getting more and more mature. But on the other hand, I think one hot topic is the benefit of the farmers. Yes. So imagine when you spend money in a coffee shop for a cup of coffee, and how much the farmers they are earning, and how is their living condition. So I hope that it can raise more awareness in the market and also amongst the coffee lovers. And secondly, in view of our HummingFish, we do want the people to connect their coffee appreciation together with the nature. So that's why our coffee, the slogan is called Passion for Coffee and Passion for Nature. When you drink a cup of coffee, and when it is organically produced and it has come from a sustainable way of production, so which means that it also helps to protect or to preserve the environment.
And also when you buy a coffee from a coffee shop, whether you use your own cup,
Yes,
whether you
exactly.
use a straw, all little
Yes.
little things add to how you protect your environment in the long run.
But I guess with straws, cups of coffee, we can take it all for granted, and it just becomes background filler. That you just walk in somewhere without thinking, I'll have one of these, one of these.
Yes,
You
exactly.
exchange it for your money, and you don't have to think about anything else. And you can't. I don't expect it to be like this, but you can't expect people to be wholly interested in a particular product, because if they're interested in this product, then they have to be interested in this one, and this one, and this one, and this is on top of their lives and what they want people to be interested in, whatever they make, if they make anything at all. So it's always going to be an uphill battle to get people to understand. Listen, if we make this, it uses this much resources, it takes this many hours.
Yes.
It's, yeah.
And I would say because coffee is an agricultural product, it comes from nature. So when you taste a cup of coffee, think about there's a relationship between yourself as a person and the nature. Yeah. So I think environmental protection is down to the point that it's a respect. You respect the nature, then I think you will make your own decision in a more natural way. Yeah.
Has it changed your appreciation for coffee?
Oh yeah, in the past, I'm just an average coffee drinker, just eat the coffee every day. But now, apart from the taste, I learn more about the taste, But then also behind how one bean is made from the tree all the way to your cup, it is not an easy process, and it involves so many energy, so many resources, so many effort of people, and because now I can go to the mountain to see the coffee down the way to the cup of coffee, and then I know even only a single step you make it wrong, then you ruin your cup of coffee. Even you don't pick the right bean, even you don't dry in the right time, then your coffee is gone. So it's not easy.
So about the beans, because I've already provided these questions as a heads up. I wanted to ask you about how do the farmers grade the beans, because they come in different shapes and sizes. For us as the consumer, it's just a little black thing. It's really hard, like a stone.
Yeah.
So what is it beforehand, and how do they differ, and how do you get them to say leave those alone and take those ones?
We have a very strict instruction and regulation of collecting the coffee cherry, because the coffee bean is almost like the end product. To start with is the cherry on the trees. So we educate them to pick first of all the red cherry, and then we also have the regulation on the size of the cherry.
The cherries are like a tomato. First they're green and then they're red. Okay.
Yes. So if it is red, it is mature, and if it is green, allow more room for the green cherry to grow further. So
and then if it's dark, it is too
it's too
ripe.
old.
So
So the farmers, they have to pick the red, mature, big cherry, and then they come to us. Then we have our own team in the very small center that they would also do the quality control. If the size is not there, if the shape, the quality is not up to our standard, we won't take the cherry. The farmers, after I think 3 years and 5 years experience, they fully understand what the quality means.
So they weren't picking them properly beforehand. They were just picking old, new.
No, they won't.
They just pick everything.
Because in the past, what happened is big coffee dealer, every year they go, because there's only one harvest every year, so every year they buy the coffee bean from the farmer and in a very low price. So they doesn't matter, what kind of bean they collect, even branches, leaves, green, white, big, small, whatever, because they just buy in a very low cost. So with a very low price, so they just take away all the bad ones. Still, they think it is okay. And then the farmer themselves never have any idea what is good bean, what is bad, because at the end of the day, whatever they give is the same price. So that's why when we introduce the project to them, we have to educate them, because we buy with a higher price than the average buyer. So we tell them that we just buy good coffee, good cherry. So that's why we start to teach them. We just want big one, red one, and also pick from the same day they sell to us. Because if it's overnight, then like grapes, getting rotten.
Yeah.
So we just buy from the same day they picked.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, you can, is it easy to see? So it is the coffee collection center on the mountain.
So behind is the processing machine.
Yes.
And this is the middleman. The man in the middle is the village leader.
Yes.
Of the mountain.
And the young guy is our staff. And then we have to dry our coffee bean, and then we have to do the water processing, right?
Yeah.
The water processing,
So,
and then we dry the coffee.
right.
So you're flattening them out on the ground and making sure they just kind of get dry in the sun.
Usually we put it on the rack. So we buy the cherry and then we process it on the same day.
Yeah.
So we wash it, we dry it we wash it and soak it overnight, and then put it onto rack and dry it.
Right.
So it is until it dries to 11% of humidity. Then the coffee is good. Then we store it.
Okay.
Yes, the rack is something like that.
So it's made by wood and some kind of net.
The net. And then we have our own roasting center in the capital of in Delhi. So we roast our coffee bean, and our another staff, Afonso, is very good at the quality control. So he knows how to roast the coffee bean and to bring out the character of the coffee bean.
Indeed, there's something very unique about our projects, because there's different coffee project in Timor Leste, and but then I think we are quite unique because we have the farmer from the trees all the way to roasting, and for some project or some buyer, they buy coffee we call parchment. It is the dried coffee from the farmer, but then we buy cherry. So we try to control every step. That's why we are one of the best coffee in Timor at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it the best coffee? Who says it's the best coffee?
The market said the best
The
coffee,
market says,
and we also get some kind.
We were voted as the best coffee in Delhi in 2015.
Yes.
By is it a local publication?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done, the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And these are some of the highlights of this article that I want to share with Grace and Jenny. A full half of the world's area that is deemed suitable for coffee growing will be lost by 2050 if climate change or global warming isn't considered. By 2080, the report from Business Insider reports and estimates that wild coffee, and a wild coffee is a type of genetic variation that might be climate resistant, will actually be extinct. Coffee shortages that make it harder to get good coffee, that hurt the livelihoods of 25 million coffee farmers around the globe. So if it gets warmer, it's going to affect that many farmers, and of course it's going to affect you as the drinker. People drink more than 2.25 billion cups of coffee a day, so that gives you a sense of scale as to 25 million people are responsible for making nearly 2.5 billion people happy in the morning or wide awake at night. Half a degree, even just half a degree of temperature change can make a region that used to be a coffee gold mine unsuitable. Moving production to higher altitudes is not always feasible, and that's why I was asking about if Timor Leste is going higher and higher, then it's sort of pushing itself
the temperature.
So maybe
the latitude.
I'm sure like the rate of growth is insignificant, but it's the idea that the coffee growing situation over years, like I don't know how many years, will be offset by any climate
I never
changes.
think about that stuff.
Yeah, but then also I guess it is unfeasible, because they own the land, but they can't say, right, I need that piece of land now because that's more appropriate. Like there's an amphibian in Hong Kong that will breed only in a certain temperature, and they found out that if the temperature gets too high in Hong Kong by half a degree or a degree, they won't breed. So they're restricted to mountain areas in Hong Kong, but at some point they'll just stop breeding because it's too warm, and they have to collect them off the mountains and put them in special environments. And the last one I wanted to share with you is from Starbucks sustainability director Jim Hanna. He told The Guardian in 2011, if if we sit by and wait until the impacts of climate change are so severe that it is impacting our supply chain, then it puts us all at a greater risk, he said. From a business perspective, we really need to address this now and look 5, 10 and 20 years down the road. And this was 7 years ago. So my last question, second to last question for you is, what is an NGO with your kind of scale? How are you looking at this? Like if Jim Hanna is saying we need to assess the impact and fix this problem, what are you doing to obviously help the sustainability aspect of your supply chain?
First of all, I think it's not only related to the supply chain, but it's to preserve, the area. So we are lucky. We got some funding from the European Union years ago, and then
European Union.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and then we got the plantation expertise. Gilbert, right? Gilbert, that he went onto the mountain and then to educate the farmers how to preserve the soil and the land condition for growing the coffee tree. Because the one interesting point is that our coffee, actually they're all wild grown. They are not planted by the farmers. When they were born, they already saw all the coffee trees around, around the mountain. But it still needs to take extra care of like the plantation, the pruning, so that the coffee tree can grow, in a healthy way. But if you are talking about like the climate change, which is a global effect, and then we can't avoid something like that. To cite an example, like last year, we got only like around 10% of the less than 5% of the cherry versus 2016. 2016, yes, it's because of it's purely extreme climate, because we didn't have enough rain.
Rainfall.
Yes.
Okay. This year though, how is it going to look?
At the moment, this year is
good. This year is good.
Back to normal, but but as Jenny said, we cannot control the climate, and there's very little we can do regarding the climate. But then, yes, we understand that we should help the farmer to preserve the coffee tree. Yes, as Jenny said, because it is wild coffee, that means there's little human intervention for the growing. And then also because the coffee tree in Timor are quite old, so it makes them more vulnerable to extreme climate, to disease. And we saw that problem some years ago already. So that's why we introduced an expert going there to work with the farmer for 8 months, giving them a training program, how to prune the trees, how to reserve the trees, how to even collect good seeds, coffee beans, to plant new trees. So that's what we are trying to do, so that to make the tree strong, to make the environment better for the tree. And also, it is not just our project who's doing that. That's the Timor Coffee Association. They also see the lead for that. So now they are working with the government, trying to introduce the program we just mentioned to other coffee districts throughout the country, so that hopefully it can help also other districts to improve the quality of their coffee tree.
Okay.
And I would say, if we start thinking from the supply chain, like from the farmers and then to the traders, importers, exporters, and then coffee shop, and then to the end users. Okay, I would say it is not just a matter of what NGO or what the farmers can do. It's more like it's more like the relationship is, back to our vision, is the relationship between the nature and the people as an individual. So how a person can do something to preserve the environment and then to try to improve or stop, the damaging process of the environment, to respect the nature. Then if you take a look of the supply chain, then the farmers, they can produce the coffee, and then the sellers and the coffee shop, they can sell the coffee, and then the end users can drink the coffee. It's something as simple as as simple as something like that, because it is still, we are connecting the people, the business, and the nature. But one point that I want to add on is, on HummingFish, we have another characteristic is that we promote direct trade. We want the coffee bean directly sold from the farmers to the end users. Yeah.
Okay. So how do they do that?
Through online, through website.
But
I'm sorry.
So how does a coffee shop?
Okay.
Let's pretend this one does sell actually your coffee.
Yes, yes.
But let's say it's another one, a new one.
Yeah.
How do they get in contact with the farmer directly?
They get through HummingFish.
Because
Okay.
HummingFish is a charity, so
Yes.
we didn't get any profit from selling the coffee. So
Yeah.
all the profit go back to the farmers. And for our charity, we have our own fundraising to run our
Sure.
charity.
But you also have to raise awareness.
Yes,
So
exactly.
how do coffee shops in Hong Kong get to find out about your coffee? I mean, when we met because there was a coffee
Yes,
day.
yes.
There was a coffee day event
Yes.
in Hong Kong. That's how we met.
Right.
But other than that, what else do you do to connect coffee shops with the growers?
Basically, we are not doing enough now in Hong Kong, to be very honest. And then we will try to, of course, the opportunity like something like today, we treasure very, very much because we can, get rid of the people who do not know our organization. And then yes, coffee expo, something like the trade event or the consumer event, we will participate much more in the future, because now we can understand the quality of the coffee is pretty well established, and then we have our own character, and then we have the confidence to attract the coffee lovers. And then we will have a upcoming campaign is the Christmas sales. Yeah, so we will have a Christmas set. So you will see we have the regular pack of coffee, the hand drip, and then you can see there is a little postcard. The little postcard is, as I mentioned, the Clean Kids project. There is a local illustrator, Kiki. She was also in Timor, and then she can understand, the nature and the culture of Timor. Crocodile is something like the elephant in Thailand. Yes, is the, how to say that? It's a very respectful animal to the Timorese.
Sacred animal.
Yes,
So
sacred
even though
animal.
over the years crocodile killed some people by the seesaw, they never hurt any crocodile.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they think crocodile is their ancestor. And when you look at the shape of the shape of Timor Leste, it looked like a crocodile
Oh,
as
okay.
Yes.
well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have this Christmas set, and then we can we'll promote it online and through our network, to the consumers as an individual to give a meaningful Christmas gift to their friends, and also we will try to do the corporate sales this year. So if the people, yes, you want to give something meaningful that benefits to your coffee lover friends and the nature and the farmers in Timor Leste, so think about the Christmas gift set.
Okay. My last question is something else that you said you're doing about ecotourism.
Alright.
And that interests me because I can see the irony of a new place being opened up, like Machu Picchu is like slowly eroding because there's just too many people going. And so that's no longer going to exist because everybody wants to go and see it. And so there's an irony there, a sad irony of like you want to show it off to the world, but by showing it off, we're also destroying it. And you're doing something where you want to limit that destruction, if I understood you correctly?
Put it this way, we are not yet up to that level because even for tourism or ecotourism in Timor or in our foundation is very premature or preliminary. So for us, we would like to open up something like, because we have a center in Delhi, so we would conduct some, say for example, the coffee tasting and the coffee roasting session with the travelers. But through the program, we would slot in the importance of the relationship between the people and the nature and how to drink a coffee in a more, environmental protection manner, something like that. So it's more like the combination of coffee enjoyment, tourism, and environmental protection. So the level is like that because I think your point is talking about some tourist spots that is overdeveloped, even though like Antarctica. Take a look of the Antarctica. I'm so worried about the penguins, frankly speaking. And then, but we are not up to that level. We just want, again, like the coffee project, we can mentor or support, work together with the local communities that you can develop tourism, but in a more like the environmental protection manner. So that is like a visual cycle again.
Renewable sort of fashion,
and then sustainability, and then your living will be sustained, and then the environment can be sustained.
Yes, and we are trying to develop like nature-based tourism. So in that sense, we are also making the local people to understand that what sells is their nature. If they don't protect it, that's it. That's the end of their tourism. So that gives them the economic incentive for both the people who work in the industry and also for the government to protect their nature, because that's where the tourism comes from. There's not much, historical sites or whatever you can look at Timor Leste, but the nature there is really beautiful. Above the water and under the water is all very beautiful. So that's the resources for their tourism.
And you're going to focus this new ecotourism initiative on Timor Leste? Yeah, not in Hong Kong?
Hong Kong we are thinking try to do like a join together.
Yes.
So something related to Timor Leste, but can also happen in Hong Kong, maybe.
Okay. Is there any coffee grown in Hong Kong?
Oh yes,
there is.
Actually, last year, thanks very much, Edward, and the other friend called Monkey. Yeah, his name is Monkey. Nickname is Monkey. So he has an organic farm in Tai Po, and interestingly, there are some coffee trees. So we had a local tour to visit the farm and then to pick the cherry with the travelers, the local travelers, and then we make the coffee, and then we use the very natural way to cook the lunch, and we talk about sustainability and organic farming. Yes, we did something like that in Hong Kong.
And also promote our project and our coffee at that event as well.
And there's just one coffee grower in Hong Kong. Is that right?
I don't know, because that's what we know. I mean,
and you just know of one coffee.
Right, and that's more for interest rather than for production for sales.
Oh, so he doesn't sell it?
No.
Oh.
It's like an organic farm, so everyone can have a small piece of land and grow your own plants or crops.
Okay. Okay.
Because the climate for Hong Kong is not, it's not ideal for coffee growing.
Okay.
So especially when you talk about Arabica coffee, so you have to be high altitude. So it's over 1,000, over 2,000.
Okay.
So Hong Kong is not good for.
Those fun things you find out. You can't grow coffee above 2,000 feet. Is that what you're saying?
Well, for low latitude, you can go Robusta, which is not as good as Arabica.
Okay. Okay, I'm out of questions. Do you have anything else you want to add to the YouTube or to the live stream, other than obviously your website again?
Website? No, just back to the point that I think environmental protection is not is more like day-to-day behavior. Yeah, so it's something like the respect to nature in your heart. So when you do, you can still live on the way that what you're living on, but try to think a little bit more about nature when you make any decision.
Okay, that's nice.